All right, hello everybody. Welcome back to Second City Sports. The trade deadline has come and gone. It is currently 5:44 when I am recording this, so Hawks play in about an hour and a half, give or take. So I just wanted to go over the moves that they made leading up to the deadline and the few moves they did today. So let's get started. To start off, we're going to talk about the Connor Murphy trade. So Edmonton receives Connor Murphy. Hawks retained on his contract. Obviously, that was going to be a given. And the Hawks received a 2028 second round pick. So the thing that sucks about this trade for the Hawks is obviously the second round pick is a 2028. But I think that can work out for them. Hopefully, by the time the 2028 draft is coming around, this team will be in a more competitive spot, and this could be used to get a player that could help them right away, as opposed to a player that they would take and develop in their system. All in all, I think this is pretty much as good as you were going to get for Murphy. I'm very happy with this trade. Obviously, I wasn't a huge fan of Connor Murphy's game. I've complained about him a lot, but he did net us a second round pick, and he was, on the team for 9 years. So hopefully, obviously we traded a couple other guys to Edmonton. Hopefully, Edmonton can go on a bit of a run this year. Maybe finally win the cup now that Florida is going to be in the finals. At least I don't think Florida is going to make the playoffs. So yeah, we're just going to move on. I think this, once again, I just think this was a good deal for the Hawks. Yes, it sucks the pick is in 2028. Hopefully, this pick is just used to get a player that will be able to help them right away, as opposed to a player that they would draft and develop and stuff. So we'll see what they do with it. All right, so the next deal we're going to talk about, Edmonton receives Jason Dickinson and Colton Dach. The Chicago Blackhawks receive a 2027 first round pick. Uh, Condition, the pick is top 12 protected. So at the very least, it's not going to be like the Florida pick this year where we didn't know it was protected until like a month ago, because that was great journalism by certain people named Frank. And we also receive Andrew Mangiapane in the deal. Um, Obviously, we have him under contract for next year. That's kind of the main reason we took him, is he has a bad contract that'll help us get to the cap floor next year. And the Hawks have shown some success with these kind of redemption stories, rehabilitation players, and stuff like that. Guys who kind of were losing their feet in the NHL, and we take them on and kind of get them back up to speed. Dickinson was actually one of those players a few years ago. We basically got him for nothing, and now we flipped him for a first round pick. Um, so just to break this trade down a little bit, losing Dickinson, losing Dach, it sucks. But Dickinson wasn't going to be a part of this team's future. Colton Dach, I think, was going to get passed up in the pecking order by better players that are going to come into both the AHL and NHL this year and next. I'm going to talk about at the end of the video too what I think some of the lineups might look like for the Hawks once some certain players sign or come over back from overseas. Um, Also, getting a first round pick for Jason Dickinson. I wasn't expecting that. I was kind of thinking we would get like I think I said in my video the other day. I figured we would get maybe like a third, maybe like a late second round pick if we were lucky. But no, we got a first out of him. We get Mangiapane, who's a guy that you can maybe uh, work with, improve his game, and then flip him again next year with some retention. We'll see what they do with him, or he could just be bought out. You never know, or get like the Joe Valeno treatment and just get flipped right away. So we'll see. Um, I wish Colton Dach and Jason Dickinson nothing but the best. Both are very hard-working players for the Hawks. And again, kind of like Connor Murphy, I hope that they have a chance to win a cup there in Edmonton. All right, and so the last NHL trade that the Blackhawks made today was they sent Nick Foligno to the Minnesota Wild for future considerations. Shout out to the GOAT, future considerations, always on the move, always out there. Uh, but yeah, they did this basically just to try and do right by Foligno. He gets a chance to go win a cup with his brother. this is probably his last year. So why not let him try to go out on a high, go win a cup? I think Bedard posted on his Instagram story today, like, go win one. So all the boys, really appreciate him and everything he's done for them. Kind of sacrificing the later years of his career to, be a leader, try to show these young guys the right way and stuff. And I think Foligno would be welcomed into the Blackhawks organization in some sort of like front office role or maybe some coaching role if that's the route he wants to go down. So we'll see what the future holds for Nick Foligno, but I'm happy for him. He gets a chance to go win with his brother. It would be pretty sweet if they could pull it off. And, just thank you for all you did here in your time, trying to show these kids the right way, never getting frustrated despite the lack of winning that has been going on. And, yeah. All right, and the last trade that the Blackhawks made today was a minor league deal one. They sent Aiden Thompson to the New York Rangers in exchange for Derek Pouliot. So there's some questionable decision making here. Like you could at least like question it. Obviously, Pouliot is like a veteran, probably never gonna play in the NHL again. If we're being honest, unless like shit goes completely wrong, he won't be playing for the Blackhawks. He'll be playing for Rockford. But I think they did this for a couple of reasons. Namely, Rockford is going to need defensive help next year, and Rockford just needs help in general right now, and that's something I want to touch on with Magnapane. He might end up being sent down at a certain point in the year to go help them and to clear spots for other guys that are going to come in. And as for Aiden Thompson, Aiden Thompson, he's an okay player, okay prospect. Probably was just going to get buried in Rockford. Obviously, next year, Van Acker's going to be in there, Pridham. Um, I'm pretty sure, Boisvert could spend some time in the AHL. We'll see. So he would just kind of fall down the depth chart. And I think, he's got a chance now in New York. They're obviously just about to start a rebuild. Maybe he can get some games there, find his place. So, it's kind of it's more of a win for the player, win for the other team. But, Pouliot is a solid AHL defender. They're going to need help there next year. So that's pretty much why this move was made. It doesn't really affect the Blackhawks' future in any meaningful way. I doubt Aiden Thompson's ever going to be a star in this league, or he might not even ever be a player in this league. So, best of luck to him, and welcome Derek Pouliot to the Rockford Ice Hogs. All right, and so the last thing I wanted to talk about is where does this leave the Blackhawks for the rest of the season? So for tonight, they only have, I think, 19 players on the roster. I believe Kaiser is going to play tonight. Obviously, he's been injured. Uh, he got hurt right before the Olympic break. I think he's back tonight. If he's not, then they'll only have 18, but Del Maestro will basically come in for his spot. So it's the typical lineup. This is according to Daily Faceoff. So Green, Bedard, Burakovsky, Donato, Nazar, Teravainen, Bertuzzi, Moore, Mikheyev, Manjapane is going to come in because they need a forward. Lafferty and Slaggert as the other as the other fourth line pieces, and then the D is pretty much the same as it always is whenever everybody's healthy. But I think it's going to be really interesting when certain players sign from the NCAA or are called up from Rockford or come back from overseas. So I think Boisvert, Lardis, and Frondel will pretty much play the rest of the year in Chicago. I think it's a matter of when, not if, for those guys. The other one I want to briefly mention is Kantsarov. Kantsarov's KHL team is really good. I just think they're going to go on a run. If his team does get knocked out, which would suck for him, he would probably come over and play. But I'm not going to bet on that happening. I think they're going to go on a pretty deep run. But anyway, so just continuing to move on here. This is what I would use as the lineup. Basically, once all these signings, like I think Boisvert is pretty much done in like the next couple of days, and Lardis will be can be called up at any time. Frondell, we have to wait for the Jurgens to finish their season. I think the regular season's coming to an end pretty soon in Sweden, but then I think he has to play in a play-in series. I'm not too familiar with SHL playoff rules, but I was talking with some guys and they said, yeah, he would have to play in, I think, a best of five series before his season's done. And then, obviously they can win. But I do think he will be here pretty soon. So when these guys do come over, this is the lineup I would run. Left wing, I would go Frondell on the first line with Bedard and Nazar. Teravainen, Moore, and Lardis as the second line. Boisvert, Green, Bertuzzi as the third. And then veteran line, Burakovsky, Donato, Mikheyev. The scratches would be Lafferty, Del Mastro, and Slaggert. Slaggert could rotate in for some of the bottom six guys. And Del Mastro, you can also substitute Kevin Korchinski if they wanted to. They can bring Korch up and have him rotate with well, I'll talk about the D actually first. So Vlasic, Crevier, Kaiser, Renzel, Grzelcyk, Levshinov, pretty standard stuff there. If they wanted to, you can bring up Korchinski for Del Maestro and have Korchinski rotate with Renzel, Levshinov, and Grzelcyk. I think that'd be pretty fine. And anyway, so let's just talk about these forward lines really quick. I think Frondell, Bedard, and Nazar would be awesome. um, Nazar would bring the speed, I think the forechecking, all that good stuff. Bedard, obviously, the playmaking, the scoring ability. And Frondell, we saw it at the World Juniors. His fucking one-timer, man, it's so good. And getting Bedard, a teammate who could just bury shit consistently, that would be so huge for Bedard. So I think this could be a really good line one, like straight away. And I wouldn't be surprised if this is line one to start next season. The second line, some people might not agree with this, but hear me out. This line was playing very well when Bedard and Nazar were hurt. They were pretty much acting as the first line. They were all playing really well together, and then obviously Lardis got sent down. Teravainen got hurt. Did he get hurt? I think he missed a couple games. And then obviously the Olympic break happened, and Lardis hasn't been back up yet. I think he's coming very soon. I think they should just put this line back together, staple them as line number two. I think that line just works. Moore and Lardis have really good chemistry. Teravainen helps to kind of balance that line out. And yeah, I think that works. The third line is a bit experimental, but I think it'd be really good. Boisvert, Green, Bertuzzi. Uh, Boisvert has some edge to his game. Bertuzzi obviously does too, and Bertuzzi's a great net front player. Green obviously has been fantastic this season, and I just think this grouping it could work out very well. Boisvert also obviously has some goal scoring potential and stuff too, and some offensive capability. Green is, he plays with Bedard. He does fine on offense. He's not nothing special, but he's very good defensively. Bertuzzi, good net front presence. I think it could be a good forechecking kind of line, and they could probably put up some points. And then the fourth line, Burakovsky, Donato, Mikheyev. That's just a solid defensive fourth line. I don't think anybody would really argue it. Um, and those guys would probably be playing penalty kill and stuff like that. Maybe not Burakovsky, but Donato, Mikheyev, and everything else. The deep pairings, like I said, Vlasic, Crevier, I'm fine keeping that for the rest of the year. These four guys, obviously Kaiser's been really good this season, but Rinzel, Levshinov, Grzelcyk, they can rotate in and out of the lineup when they need to. Del Maestro could either just be the straight up seventh guy, or if they want, they can bring up Korch to get some sort of rotation going there. We'll see what they do. But anyway, I think this is a much more interesting lineup than what it would have been if we just kept, fucking Murphy and Dickinson. This will at the very least be exciting to watch to see all the new kids how they're doing and stuff. So that's my thoughts on that. That's kind of my thoughts on the whole trade deadline. It's a changing of the guard almost. The veterans that they brought in a couple of years ago to just kind of fill the lineup are all kind of gone now. You can argue maybe Donato, Burakovsky, whatever. But everyone, if this is the lineup they go with, then it means pretty much everybody in the lineup is a player that they actually believe in and that they might want to keep around long term. So we'll see what they do. We'll see how the rest of the season goes. That's going to do it for this one, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please leave a like, share it with your friends, subscribe to the channel if you want to see more. And as always, have a good day. Bye bye.